All right. Well, that's par.
What happened?
So now the battery's dead, so we gotta charge that first. So, I'm telling you, the carpet guy didn't even get out the door. And she says, honey, don't you think now would be a good time to put a new floor in the kitchen? Yeah, like I really needed that, you know.
Get them while they're hot, ladies.
So, it wasn't long after that, and we wound up over at Menards. So,
Here we are.
here we are
In a mess again.
in the middle of a project.
Demolition.
Everything's out of order, and we're laying the floor. So we went with a composite floor.
Is that what it's called? Composite?
It's a composite. What is it called?
Laminate?
Laminate. So we had a choice of going with that or a vinyl, and I thought this looked a lot nicer, and so we're going to see if it's going to work in a mobile home. So actually we going by the manufacturer's directions, not taking any shortcuts. We're laying it over a vinyl floor, but we decided to put the foam down over the vinyl. That way, precaution, you might say. So right now we're having a cup of coffee because we're waiting for batteries to charge. Yeah, we found a squeaky spot in the kitchen floor, and we're going to try and fix that. So we cut a hole in the vinyl. I'll show you that later. And then we're going to re-screw the subfloor down to the joist. It's all stapled. You know, you can't even build a house, staple the floor, give me a break. So there must be different codes. That's all I can think of, you know. I mean, you sure couldn't go out there and staple a subfloor to a house today. So we're going to add some screws to get rid of the squeaks. That's another subject in itself, you know. I tried to get away without having to fix this floor.
It's only been squeaking for 10 years, I think.
Yeah, and she always wanted to live in an old house. Well, what do you get with an old house? Squeaky floors.
Yeah, well, this old house has a charm to it when it squeaks.
I know, character. So if I leave the squeak in, it'll look like an old house.
But this is...
have some character.
It's not an old house. But the squeak was so bad that even our dog, when he was alive, he'd walk across it and it would squeak, and he was only like about 50 pounds, so it didn't take much to get that floor squeaking. So I just said, you know, we're at it at this point now, let's just fix it.
So I'll show you where we're at with this a little bit later once we get back on the, what's the word for it? Get back on track?
Yeah.
Get back to the grind? It's a good thing we're retired. We started this floor yesterday at about 11 o'clock, and then we finished up about 4:30.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I told her we're not going to rush through this.
Yeah, we're not on a deadline like we were with doing the walls because of the carpet guys coming in. So
Yeah.
now we can just kind of.
So we're working at our own pace.
Yeah.
So I might sit here and have 2 cups of coffee.
Yes.
Then we've got to move the refrigerator. Yesterday we cut around the closet, and I'll show you what that looks like. But depending on how far we get today, we got to pull that refrigerator and lay the floor underneath that.
Yeah, and we have plumbing in the refrigerator for the ice maker and the
Yeah.
water dispenser, so that's going to be
And then we've got the
interesting.
stove. I'm going to have to pull the stove out. and go behind that. So that all that's going to slow us up. So even if we just reach the point to do something with one of them, I'll be happy today.
Yep.
Anyway, hey, have a cup of coffee or something, and I'll get back to you later. Ha! Look, it's not even stapled into anything.
What?
Give me the hammer. It's right there.
See some of our new floor?
There it is. Holy cow. It isn't even stapled into anything.
Oh,
Now it's not squeaking. Oh yeah.
wow. It's really moving. Look at that.
Okay. Let's try a couple of screws and see what happens. I wanted to drill that hole because I don't want the screw to really bite. On the subfloor, I want it to be able to slide through the subfloor and pull it tight. Let's see if that helped any.
Yay.
Well,
Is
that
that
did it.
is that normal for it to kind of rock back and forth?
Yeah, on this it is.
Oh, I hear a squeak.
There's a squeak here.
Yeah.
So we'll put another screw in.
Okay.
See if we can get that fixed. Okay, we're back to where we were. This is where we ended. We had our foam pad down, and we just raised it and folded it back, and we cut the vinyl floor, and we even had to go back a little further because we found another joist that was squeaky, so we screwed them both in. So now we're ready to start laying this again.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
Is when the police put down tape from a dead body.
There you go.
Dead floor.
That's the scene of the crime right there. So now we're going to get organized and we're going to get back to laying the floor. So we're going to lay this floor up to probably this wall over here, and then we'll stop and move the table back on what we have laid. We already moved the buffet back there, and we're not moving it all the way tight to the wall because I still got to move it out a little bit to get in there and put the base down. I don't want to put the base down now. I'd like to be able to just put the base down, but I just don't trust this floor. It could still move a little bit, and if I put the base down over there, I can't get a bar in order to pull it over. So that's what we're going to do. So you can see where I undercut the trim so that it could slide underneath the doors, and we're just about ready to get started now. This is kind of from the other angle, and we're running this lengthwise, not widthwise. We're running it parallel with our light source from the kitchen window, and that's the way they suggested it be run. Also, when you run it lengthwise in a bigger space like this, it makes the room look a little bit bigger than if you ran it across the width. So we're going to get started and we'll catch up with you later. Here's your tools.
Yep.
Okay. Tap. Hold it. One more. Hold it. Where's that bar? Let me get that bar once. I got a spacer in here, but I don't have one on this thing. Just a little baby tap. Okay. It's tight. Okay, let's get this one in over here.
You see there's a ding in the floor? It's glue?
Yeah, it's whatever, I don't know. I was going to say, we didn't put any dings in this yet. So, get my bar in here. Okay, tap. Hold it. Okay, small tap. Again, again, again. Good. Well, we're on break again. We laid our couple of rows that you saw us putting down earlier, and we laid it out to the end. I brought it outside, and I've been cutting the angles with a power saw outside. Otherwise, I use that laminate cutter. So we moved the table back over to the other wall. So now we've got a clear swipe here. So we'll probably lay a couple more rows and then stop just before we get to the refrigerator. And I don't know what kind of a pain that'll be. I know that's a heavy refrigerator, and we got to roll that out far enough that we can lay our flooring and step it back and be able to push the refrigerator back into the hole. And then there's the water line to the ice maker and water that has to be disconnected and reconnected. So we had a little trouble with that when we first bought the refrigerator and had to have a plumber come in because the old shut-off wouldn't shut the water off. So I guess there's ways I can deal with it. I can go underneath the house and shut the water off totally. So whatever we got to do to get that out of here is what we'll do, I guess. We started this in this back corner here, this back left corner behind the buffet cabinet. Direction says left to right. So you're always starting this with your groove end out and your tongue end in. So you start with your tongue against that wall back there, and then you use the spacers and keep a 1/4 inch space around the floor. So that's what we've been doing. So we'll get back to you a little bit later after we get a little further. I don't consider myself a wizard at this stuff by all means, but you know, I've been in business for many years, so I've done all kinds of things, and don't do something just because I did it. This is my disclaimer. I'll show you and tell you how I do it, and then you do it the way you want to do it. That works out the best.
Or the way that you need to do it.
Yeah, or the way you need to do it, because you know, you can look at all the manufacturer's directions on some of this stuff, and they'll tell you, well, you got to be a 1/4 inch around all the walls and the cabinets and lay the base or the shoe, you know, to hide it. And then you're going to measure from, you know, from one side of the room to the other, and
it's not square.
divide that by 8 inches to see if you can be the same on both ends. You might have to rip one to start. And then there's the fact that you might have walls in the middle, and they tell you, well, you can't have it, you know, less than a 2-inch piece against the wall. And it's like, well, if you rip it and it's 2 inches, it's 2 inches. It's what it's going to be. So
Yeah, like in our corner right there.
yeah, so you've got to just, you know, try and follow the rule of thumb. So we'll get back to you a little bit later. So we had this thing on the floor, and the refrigerator was sitting over here. It was easy to get out because there wasn't anything on the floor, so we just rolled it out on the vinyl and turned it. Then naturally we turned it so the back was facing, and then we wheeled it up as far as we could, and we laid this on the floor and then pushed the refrigerator over this. This is just a small piece of like 3/16 masonite. You can see it's real pliable, but it's very hard. So this way the wheels wouldn't scratch the floor, and that's why we used that. I'm just going to put this on the side, and then I'll explain what we did here. So I laid this cardboard over, and this is something I do anyway if I'm going to end for the day. And if it was on a job site, I would have put a little piece of tape to hold this stuff so it couldn't move. It works real well for protecting the tongues so that you don't break these grooves and tongues off of the flooring. So this is what it looked like. When we put the refrigerator in. So we've built out from that wall enough that we can connect and finish the floor, and the refrigerator won't be in the way now. Okay, come here. Come here. Put your foot on this.
Yeah.
Careful now.
Okay.
Now I'll watch you. Grab your handle. I'll hold this end down.
Okay.
Okay. So simple, Diane can do it. Yeah.
Next one will go a lot smoother because now I know what to expect.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to get the trim up. Get that base around the walls, and we're done back in there. We got our transition strip in here. So just something with that register, a little bit of shoe there, and finish this transition over here on the carpet.
Are we all done now, honey?
Yep,
Finally,
we're done.
we can rest until the next project.
We are done. We got our floor in and our transition strips, base, and shoe. And we are done.
Yeah, we're tired.
So we hope you like this video. I gotta tell you, it was fun taking the video, but doing the work, I'm not so sure. Anyway, we'll catch you on our next one. Take care.